Hello everyone. Okay, well, hello everyone. Michael the Mechanical here. Today, I can't work. I can't actually go and do courier driving because I found a problem in my car, which I had to fix. And I am fixing, but I have to wait for a part which won't be here till midday, and that is this idler arm. And it's worn out so bad that a couple of times I actually drifted the rear end of the vehicle, which was, well, actually, I only did it once, and I didn't know why it did that. And then I found that, and then I was thinking about it, and I was like, maybe that's why I drifted, because what it felt like was the front end was locking up or braking or something, and I didn't even have my foot on the brake pedal. So this video I'm doing right now. Okay, we have the racks being built for the vehicle, and the structure is here. So that's cool. It's all in place. Now this is strong enough to take the loads that they're going to go on it for certain, because it's the pipe size and it's already got the bends in it. And the whole idea of not going square with this is if you put a square load on it, the load is actually down here, whereas this is bending it around. It's like a circle in some ways. Also, the good thing is, if we really need more structure, we still got the bull bar here. We can make a clamp from here to here and just, have a circular clamp going over, and then just bolt it here, bolt it here, bolt it here, bolt it here, sort of thing, and then she's all good to go. So yeah, the wheels are off, the rack is out, and here we have a nice set of these little tubes, which are warm because I just made them up, and these are essentially these are the holders for the tubes. So the idea is we're going to have, we need 4 more of these, or sorry, well, just 2 more of these, and I'm working on one at the moment in the vise, and then I decided, I'm going to make a video, and what I got to do is I got to tack everything together here. Power costs so much that we're not doing it here, and so we're doing it somewhere where they do it, and it will come out a high quality weld. So one of these is actually going to go roughly maybe here, or somewhere here, as far as I'm aware. And then another one's going to do the same over there, and then another 2 are going to go in these corners. We just have to see what we can do, because, well, there's plenty of space for that to go. That's the good news. That's what's going to happen there. So these are going to go in the 2 of them are going to go in corners, 2 of them are going to go to the side of the top. The vehicle is a height of 1.9 meters, so that's what I found out last night. The overall vehicle height for what I've got here, that is 1.9 high, which isn't too bad. So what we got going on in here, forget about messes and cleaning up stored stuff and more mess. What we've got going on here is we're marking up what we're going to do with the tube, and then we're going to cut either side of the gold line, and it's about 3 mil, 5 mil of material we remove, and I've just used a saw this morning. I'm trying to get stuff done in an effective manner because I've wasted a lot of time already, and I've been really feeling under the weather, I guess. And it's 5 mil, so 5 mil of material has to leave, and there's the strips on the ground. Show you what 5 mil roughly looks like. That actually looks more like 3, but this chunk leaves the tube, and then what we do with what's left is we crush this tube, and we cut it where the weld originally is. That way we don't actually make another weld somewhere else to let go. It's just one weld lets go, not 2 welds that could let go. Then what we do is we cut it, we then use the vise, put the tube in here, compress it until this is nearly tight but loose enough that you can slide it in and out, still smooth enough. And then what we do, we get the angle grinder in at that point, cut it open a little bit more, just a slight bit, but not all the way. Get the welder here, and just tack here, tack there, tack there, tack there, and then we're done. And I've got to do that 2 more times. So just to get an idea of what's happening, is we're actually getting another solar system, and it's because even though we've replaced all the lights and they're so dangly and so low, it's because these used to be fluoros. And because I pressured my dad into, swapping them out, we've now halved the energy costs of running lights in the shed, because these ones are really bright, but at the same time they're really effective. There's one up there. But the idea is we've halved the lighting cost in the shed, and that's to try and reduce how much energy is used when we're in the shed. The problem is when the roof is full of solar panels, those sheets are going, and we're going to have to use those lights all the time, even during the day. So it's going to be okay. And there's going to be a box next to this here, which is going to be the inverter. And then that's going to take about 12, 13 kilowatts on the roof. We've already got a solar system, and it's because the bill is like $1,000. And we don't even see where the power's getting used up. That doesn't use nearly any power, although it could be because of peak, could be using more power. And we just mathematically calculate everything off peak. We use power intermittently, but this is intermittent, and that's why we're not actually fully welding everything here. We're just tacking it, cutting it, and getting it all where it needs to be, and then going forward. The problem is these tubes are in a weird position that doesn't fit, and that's why the rope's here, because when you squeeze it, don't know if you can see the tube movement, that helps to locate this, because there's something imperfect about that when it got welded together. And my idea was, why don't we build that? Why don't we build this, put it together, and then have it all bolted up, and then weld things together? And no, let's make this first, then let's make that. Because what I got told by a guy is essentially what you want to do is make sure everything locates when you weld things solid, so that there's not as much twisting and play and stuff. I learned a lot of things, and then I was thinking just a few seconds ago, while talking to you guys, why don't we like make a bar up, then put tubes on the bar that slots into here, that simulates what this gap looks like here, and then have another set which is like these things that hold the position. Actually, there's a reason why we can't do that. It's because it's not actually a production line. But we could do that with like a short piece of steel, and that will hold it in the right position anyway. The idea is you hold things in the position, then you weld them, and then when you pull things apart, they should be loose enough that they hold position relatively well. If not, you can always smack them with a hammer after things are welded, maybe to try and bend it a little bit in the opposite direction. It's not easy to do things, but when things are done, they are pretty cool. Now, I haven't tacked this in 4 positions. I should have tacked them both in 4 positions. The problem was, because this is the front of the bar, hitting the back means that all the sparks and arcs and stuff will go all over this wrap. Now, I wet this before I did anything, and so there's little bits of crap here, and the idea is I didn't want it melting through this vinyl. So what I did was I got this water bottle here, sprayed the hood with the vinyl wrap on it, and then what I did after that was then I welded. And that was to protect the vinyl wrap from getting torn to shreds by the arc and stuff. So I was thinking ahead. I've got a new kit. I've had this kit for a year, and I decided, I'm going to put all these bits in the box, and then, it'll be easier to access them. I found my ball, I found my other bit, and Dad was claiming it's his, but it's mine. Unfortunately, it's mine, Dad. And now we got to clean up the shed a bit more and build this engine, put it together, get the vehicle going, so we can then save some more money on fuel. My plan at the moment is to try and get this vehicle with as much money generating capacity as possible, so that I can save up, get a truck, because the truck is going to make me a little bit more money. The problem is I'm not sure whether I should go straight up to a LR class or an MR class, or what I should go up to, a HR class. I'm not sure what I should do in that sense, because I can't afford to waste time, but I could afford to waste $1,000 in one day to get the license I need to drive a bigger truck, which goes up to 8 ton. That will give me some benefits. And that will mean anyone that's like around the neighborhood is like, we need a truck driver. Do you have a license? You can just walk up and say, yeah, I've got a license. Do you want me? Yep. Okay. We want you on the spot. Because they sometimes, that's the sort of world we're living in now. The trucking industry is one of those jobs where if you have the license for just something a little bit heavier than a car license, then you can definitely get a job in your street. Like there's someone laying down this painting the roads for the government or the council or something. They will be like, right, we need a trucker. You got a truck license? Yes or no, sort of thing. And it's easier to get a job with a trucking license than any other trade. Now, in South Australia, to be honest, there isn't really many jobs. There isn't much money flowing around because there's so many people. There's not enough real industry anymore. In fact, industry has been leaving the state. We've lost almost completely lost the engineering industry, which is still coming to a halt. People are trying to rip the industry off. So people with these machines that know how to use them and do really good jobs with these and these and these and these and all these tools, they're the guys getting ripped off in their small businesses because people want to say, hey, make this. Okay, we make this. And then the people come along, how much it's going to cost, and they say $800 because of the material, the labor costs to make this, and how precise we've had to make it for your requirements because of what you said you wanted. And then they come along and said, I could have gotten $100 at this store. And then it's like, well, why the hell did you come to us for if you wanted it? You could get it somewhere else. Oh, because they're not open. Yeah, real good excuse. Yeah, why you should have gotten it sooner rather than come to us. Or better still, you shouldn't have come to us in the first place with this $800 job. Because we're making you a quality part out of this special steel that will last you for what you need it. And the reason I'm saying this is because it's a story I heard about, and it came from a guy who ran a tractor or something, a really big heavy machine that needed a special part for like a bush or a bearing or something, and it cost them a whole bunch of money and material. They at least got half the money, and that was my dad's wages, and the company didn't make money and made a bit of a loss because the material was a very expensive material. There's a couple $1,000 per length, and yeah, I can't remember how big it was or nothing. I don't even remember what it was. All I know is it was a bush. It cost them $800 because of the couple of hours it took to machine this material. Had to use special cutters, had to get it really precise, had to, make it polished and stuff. It was so petite how they had to go into the depth of how they did things because it was not a material you could just machine with like a normal cutter. Someone could come along with a cutter and just try to cut it, but it won't work. If you say have like a ceramic and you want to cut something that's made of ceramic, you can't use these cutters. These cutters won't do. These cutters will go blunt before you even finish the job. You have to use a special cutter, which isn't, well, we've got some cutters in the shop here, but they're not readily available. But for example, this is high-speed steel. There is a carbide on there that's almost gone. You can't use carbide; it won't last. It will actually probably wear out the blade. But there is a similar cutter. There's no carbides here, but the carbide, from what I learned, there's a special black cutter that's like a diamond shape, and I think that was the one you used for ceramic. And I've never actually machined ceramic. All I know is I know what my dad's told me, and he does this stuff for a living. And yeah, so if he didn't do this for a living, why do we have these machines in the shed? There's no real point to have something you're never going to use. In fact, these probably will never get used, but at the same time, they're so useful to have on hand when you need to do something that you can't do on other machines. Like, you can do it manually. They won't come out as precise as using an actual physical machine that can do the job, like smack on, bang on, the way you need it. In fact, the point I'm going to make about what these machines did to my dad's work, they got asked to make some shopping bays. I have no idea what they were exactly, but this is the material for the shopping bays. My dad is the guy who normally validates the information with measurements and stuff because someone else does it and they're really good, but apparently they made a mistake and it cost the boss for what they did, and so it's like we got all this extra material now and we can't do nothing with it. Now they got a cutter and set it up to do this profile here, and what that does is allows you to get another tube and set it on top. This was done on one of these machines here that we're sitting on right now. It was a cutter that was vertical, not horizontal, and it sat like on this bar here sort of thing, and it just went. You had this in like a clutch vise, like it has a chuck like that, but it sits on the table up and down. And I believe it was, I could be wrong, actually no, it would have been like this that they had it in there, or I can't even remember how they did it. I remember hearing some stuff about how they do some stuff. Anyway, they put in a vise or something, and they come in with the cutter from the side, then come out. They only go in like 25 mil or something to do the cut. But that's the cool stuff you can do with these machines. The honest truth is, if you are a customer of an engineering shop, it sometimes might be nice for you to know why something costs a lot of money for them to do. And it might also be a good idea to understand, if you do it yourself, is it going to be cheaper? Is it going to be more expensive? You need a quality part, or do you need something that's just going to get you by? What is it you need? And these machines can provide you with the quality requirement of your jobs and meet your needs. Whereas if you do it manually, there's a chance that it's not going to be as good as doing it precisely on a machine like this. Now, honestly, if you're a person who does welding, you're probably going to be way better at welding than me, because I just tack things together here, and this is a gasless welder. The problem with this gasless welder is it doesn't actually do a good as job as a gas welder, from my experience. In fact, the gas welder does a cleaner weld, and it's easy to clean. With that welder there, I get a bunch of porosity, and it's like a little bit annoying. And that's why, well, it's a perfect welder, but there's porosity here and here and here and here and here. It's like, that's why I don't like that welder. I keep getting porosity out of a gasless welder. Whereas with the gas welder, this is the kind of welds you can expect to get if you look after your machines. Like, these aren't perfect. My dad thinks he's really good at welding, but it's like, yeah, you've got a couple of good welds. Well done, Dad. And you've welded it together. It will hold. I'm not going to complain about that. But when he says to grind them, it's like, I don't really want to grind them. I'm going to leave it alone. But he's going to weld it up, and there will be no porosity. So I can't remember how he's going to do these, but he'll take these to work, he'll weld them up, and then they'll be better than that. And that's galv. I believe it was galv, and it's a very hard material to weld, because even the guy who welded these things together, he got porosity in his welds, and there's no porosity in these welds on galv. So I'm going to leave it at that, guys. I'm going to get back to work. It's been about 20 minutes almost, and I'm going to get this done so my dad can take this to work when he's up and put it all together, so I can then start working on the second rack and the third rack when I get some material. I also won't be able to do it all until I've got the suspension back together again, or the steering, because all these things are broken and I can't afford them, and that's why I want to do this, so I can afford them. Like, you can see all the grease coming out of the nipples. And this is a new tie rod, and this is a new tie rod, and this tie rod's outlasting this one. Well done, Autobahn. You got the best quality parts, and that's why I went to Autobahn, because they had a better idler arm than anyone else, as far as I'm aware, because that's contained. And they said top quality. The guy also had a Triton like mine, so that's why. But you do get good parts from Repco. You do get good parts from Super Cheap. You do get good parts from Sprints. I'm not dissing them, because I always go to them when I need something. There's always going to be a chance to get a good quality part and a bad quality part. It doesn't matter. It's just, at this point in time, for this scenario, I preference Autobahn. I've got brakes on my car from Autobahn, and I haven't tried the super cheap ones, but their Bendix brakes should be good from there. Anyway, I think my next plan is to let this video slide and get back to work, because I have to do this. Other than that, guys, I will make a recommendation for anyone who plans to be a courier driver. The one thing I valuably learned a lesson about is the fact is, this is an old vehicle, right? Okay. If you buy a new vehicle, buy extended warranty if you're going to be a courier driver. Buy a brand new one. Now, there's two ways you could go. One, you can buy the ute with the tray, or two, you can buy a truck. The truck is going to cost a bit more, but it's likely to make you a few grand more per year. It will have a similar warranty. The reason you want to buy a new vehicle is because the parts are more readily accessible, and if something breaks and majorly goes wrong, you don't have to try and fix it. You take it back to the dealer, or you take it back to the manufacturer, and they will deal with it. And if they don't, then they're breaking rules. You can have them up on that, which it's all going to be in your benefit if you have a warranty on your vehicle. And if you look after it well, it won't break. The good thing is, if you do that, You'll only have the service expenses, like the general wear and tear and things. If something majorly goes wrong and they don't last the life of those parts, they will replace them. They will fix them if something goes wrong. If it destroys itself, they will fix it. And if they don't fix it, they'll replace it. And if they don't replace it, then what they have to do is give you your money back, sort of thing, or at least the value in which the vehicle is at currently, or something, you know? What's the use you've had out of the vehicle? What's the value of this right now? And then they have to resell it, or fix it, or do something with it. Anyway, guys, that's what I'm going to say. Don't buy second-hand cars if you're going to stay in the courier business for a long time, because something's going to go wrong. And there's all these little things to go wrong on an old vehicle, and if you can't afford to fix them, if you can't afford to make sure your vehicle is in perfect condition before the start of the week and by the end of the week, what's going to happen is you can look unreliable, you're going to look pretty bad. And I'm feeling pretty bad, but at least I've said, right, I've told my courier company the truth, there is a problem with my car, I'm fixing it, but while I'm wasting time here, I've been talking to them about the racks. I said, while I'm waiting for a part, I'm building the racks, and I haven't lied to them yet. And I've told them whenever something's gone wrong, like the voltage when it was spiking on the road, that's when I talked to them and told them I got a problem here. I told them when I had other problems as well. I'll tell you one more bit of good news before I end this video. Rim rise, this is what I'm using, and this is what I'm going to get. And I need another 3 of these to swap the tires over to the rims, and I need another 1 on top of that if I want to have a spare on the car with a 16-inch radial. I got a 15 on the car right now, the radial is 15, and I need a 16. So I've got a brand new tire, 15 rim. That's my scenario there. I'm going to get rid of that tire and put those tires on these rims, because the safety thing. Look how far in this is, look how far in that is. And if you've seen the vehicle before, last thing to point out about the vehicle is you'll see that there's been rubbing on here on both sides, and it was doing it on the idler arm. That is a bit of a safety risk, okay? And it's rubbed right here, and I didn't like that. The tire company screwed me over, and well, it's technically my fault, at the same time it's their fault, because I said I want to put these tires on these rims. Are they going to fit? Is there going to be any rubbing? Because I was aware of it because of the fatter tires. If I put a fatter tire on this, it'll do even more rubbing. It will rub on the chassis as well, but it only rubbed on that part, so it's not that bad, but it was pretty bad. So they did that. They checked it in the air. They said there's no problem, there's not rubbing on anything, but they couldn't tell because they didn't turn the wheels all the way, 1. Number 2, they didn't even try to rotate them. They didn't try to rotate them this way, and they didn't try to rotate them all the way that way. They couldn't see a problem until I started driving and I found the problem. Then they blamed everything about my car, and everything's wrong with your car. There's this thing fucking wrong with it. There's rubbers missing here. That's worn out. The suspension's all wrong. It's got solid suspension. Those parts are gone, but it's going to get rebuilt eventually. The rubbers are okay on this side, but they're stuffed. It is stuffing up. And that's the reason why you can't have a vehicle like this on the road. And then there's here, this greasy thing that only just let go not too long ago. This is why you get a new vehicle, because any of that stuff happens within the lifetime of the warranty, and it's not a general repair. If it was an unexpected repair, then they'll fix it. The manufacturer will fix it. If it is something that was expected to go wrong, it's a part of the logbook service. So if it doesn't match up to the logbook service, they've got to fix it. That's pretty much close to the scenario, because parts have a certain lifetime warranty on them. And if they let go within that warranty, you get them replaced. Okay, we're done here. See you later, guys.